Horizon 2 Forbidden West is a fantastic sequel to its predecessor and advances each and every part of the game one level up. The graphics, the gameplay, and the story of all what was once really good is now amazing. So good, in fact, that I had a hard time putting this down. Now, I should mention that this is definitely a sequel, and by doing so, there's a lot of stuff here that is really in the first game which you should play before even diving into this one. You're gonna miss a lot. If you don't play these games in order, you're gonna be disappointed by the gameplay in Horizon 1. While it was good, this is a lot better. It's a lot like playing Skyrim first, but then going to Oblivion and trying to unlock a door. Just not as good. Story-wise, you should really play the first game because there's gonna be a lot of questions in Horizon 2 which you don't know. Let's start with the graphics. They are breathtaking. When I look at the characters in the game, each one is so detailed, and even like my girlfriend, when she walked in, she thought it was real people for a moment. I will say that like there are times when, for example, Aloy is talking to someone and she just keeps on looking in other places while talking, and I'm like, look at him, look at her, you know? But otherwise, the graphics are beautiful. There doesn't seem to be any recycled animations for the characters. Each one seems to have their own thing when you're talking to them, whether walking left to right or hand motions like I'm doing right now. The machines that you fight in the game look amazing. You can see every little gear and like metal plate on them, and it's fun to see how they react and fight to you as well. Through the game, I just explored high mountaintops with beautiful views. I walked through amazing looking jungles. The game just awed me so often. And there's this one place, I won't spoil it, but you go underwater and it is beautiful. And I don't like water levels in games, but this one was a lot of fun. You should know that I'm playing on the basic PS4 from years ago. Not the first one that came out, but after they made some iterations from the internals. I gotta hand it to the developers. This game looks amazing. I saw some comparisons between the PS4, the PS4 Pro, and the PS5. If all you have is PS4 graphics to this game, it's still amazing. It pushes the console more than you would think it would. It's very optimized for that, for the graphics without impeding performance. Now let's talk about the gameplay for this game. Now, when you fight machines, each one is like an intricate little puzzle which you have to kind of figure out on your own, but it is immensely satisfying. You have different elemental bows and traps that you can use depending on the machine you're fighting, and those little pieces of the machine that are more vulnerable than others. And it's really fun to like learn the attacks, dodge them, as well as to see what the weaknesses are and attack them. It's great. Now, the humans, they are fine. Like, it's nothing special. All you do is you shoot them with a bow or you hit them with a spear, you know? There are sneaking sections for machines and for humans. Sneaking sections are fun. Generally for myself, I did end up only successfully sneaking everyone a few times, and that was very satisfying. I was very patient and I planned ahead, and that was great. But there were a lot of times where I just got caught, and you know, I just went balls to the walls and fought all of them. It was just boring for the human side more, unless you were sneaking. The side quests in the game are okay, nothing fancy. At the start of the game, as classic RPGs are, there was a guy who was cooking, and he's like, you gotta get me 3 pieces of boar meat, you know, and 5 plants.
What do you need?
For the ingredients, a few pieces of decent wild meat, and I'd say a big handful of bitter leaf stems.
I'm not a big fetch quest guy, so I generally skip to that kind of stuff. But otherwise, there's like cauldrons, which are, I'm not gonna spoil them, but they're great little bits in the game, puzzles that you walk in, and those are a lot of fun. There's tall necks, which are machines in the game, and these machines give you more areas in the map to explore. Based on the name, they're very tall, and you have to get up there. And the puzzle is knowing how to get up to the top of this tall neck. These are phenomenal side quests. Now let's talk about the difficulty of the game. I'm really happy that the developers gave you the option to do story mode and easy and medium and hard. I'm a big fan of story mode because I love the story, I love exploring. I'm not a big fan of like whacking a machine 20 times, you know, just to kill him when I could do it 5 times. I do like the puzzles and the fighting, but I don't want to be bogged down because there's so much of it to do and explore, and I don't want to waste my time just mashing a button the whole time. That's just me. I get why difficulty is great, but I'm glad they have those options for people who, one, maybe just can't play the game unless they have that, or something else. The stability of the game is really good. I've only had 3 parts in the game where the screen would just go black for me for a moment and then pop back up. I assume it was loading the area I was running to. And then there was one part where I was gliding down and just the whole world disappeared for 1 second and then reappeared. Not really a big thing to worry about. There are some times where I fell into a certain object and it was hard to escape from. You know, these are nitpicks here. It's a very stable game. The frame rate dropped barely, if at all. One thing I do want to mention is the UI. I wasn't a big fan of the UI in the previous game. I'm still not here. There's a lot of points where the icon that I want you to go to is pointing in a direction that you don't think that actually isn't where it is in the map, if that makes sense. A good example is there would be somebody literally right behind me and an icon should be above their head, would be like pointing to the left or to the right, in not a way that you would think, oh, they're behind me, or when I follow it, they'll be behind me. I don't know how to explain it. The UI isn't that good in my opinion. It's kind of clunky and I don't like the icons, but again, a nitpick. Now the story. The story is the reason why I bought the game. The first one was great. I heard the second one would be better, and it is. It's amazing. Lots of twists and turns and plot lore. And it's just such a fresh experience that I have not experienced in a long time. Highly recommend again that you would play the first game before playing this one. Otherwise, a lot of the story beats you're just not going to get. They do have a bit of a recap, but I would still recommend playing the game before, because the recap does not give you spoilers to the first one, because those are some great story beats which you should experience for yourself. Overall, it is a fantastic sequel and I highly recommend it for people. It's a fresh new experience, though there are a lot of RPG tropes from Western RPGs that you see.
A few pieces of decent wild meat,
which is inevitable in this kind of AAA game, but you can easily skip them if you want to. I would say this is one of my games to play before you die. Easily in the top 100. Thank you everybody for watching. I highly recommend you get this game or play the one before it if you haven't already. That game, Horizon Zero Dawn, is on Steam, so if you have a PC, you can play it there. I do hope this game also shows up on Steam eventually, just so more people can play it and you can have both games on your PC. Thank you again for watching. Cheers.